Well, one of the many goals that every Christian parent has is to raise their children to be happy, godly kids. In author Tim Alba's new book, Well Done, Mom and Dad, Tim breaks down how you can make a difference in your child's lives that will result in more than just happy, godly kids, although that's pretty good stuff. But you also hear, well done from God and from your family. Tim, welcome to Hope Today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a real privilege to be here. Thank you.
Well, we're so glad to have you, and this is such an important subject. And I have to ask you, the way I kind of teased it at the top of the show, is there some kind of secret sauce to enable us to raise godly, happy, faithful followers of Christ?
Well, I think in many ways there is, but we don't want to keep it a secret. And it's really about the secret itself, if you will, and then how do you unlock that secret? And I really believe that the secret is to lead your kids to want what they need to be faithful. Because at the end of the day, it's not only about how to be faithful, it's about wanting to be faithful. And to not keep that secret locked up is to help it to where we don't look back one day when we get older and say, wow, I wish I would have thought these things through. And how do you unlock that? Well, what I really believe, and I've seen in my own children and my grandchildren, is to help them to where faith becomes theirs, right? It's no longer just ours as parents. It's how do we help them unlock it for them? And really through that, I guess I've grown from being a pretty stoic dad to trying to connect with my kids in ways that connect with them, and to help, if you will, create and inspire vivid memories in my children so that they could take that faith and it could become theirs. So that's why the book is really about a lot of practical, simple exercises that any parent, grandparent can do. You can even do it in small groups. One of them, real quick, I think that a lot of people enjoy, one of their favorites, is what's called secret sauce. And it's really simple. All you do is you pick one character quality from each of the 26 letters, one from A, one from B. We did that individually and then came together as a family. And the memories it creates as a family and individually to think through. So what are the character qualities that God would have for me to exhibit? And when I saw my children do it, and we did it together, just one real quick story is that we did it together, and it was a great experience. I mean, how often do you sit together with your siblings and talk about how you admire each other? Like never. But we did this. We made fun of each other. We laughed together. We saw each person's character qualities come through. And then the real shocker came 7 months later, because that night my daughter announced to us that she was pregnant with our first grandchild.
Wow.
And 7 months later, I realized that her B character quality was bold, and she named her son Cade Boulder. I have a walking, talking grandson who's a reminder of what happens when character qualities and these things become personal to your children.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting when you get to that age where you're having grandkids show up and you see yourself and your kids in those little ones. It's amazing. But let me ask you, because this issue has been talked about for a decade at least, probably longer, about young people, millennials and now Gen Z, leaving the church, moving on, and not like staying in the church. And we're not interested in just having churchgoers, but faithful followers of Christ. Can you just comment on why you think that is? And you have a lot in here in the book about exercises to have them own that faith themselves. But why do you think that's happening?
Well, I mean, society makes it harder, right? I mean, it is harder. But I really believe the key isn't what's happening in society. It's what you do in your home. Nobody is a greater influence on my children than me and you and your family. So to me, the key is, yes, we have to combat the influences of our society. But more importantly, are we playing defense in the home? Or are we otherwise inspiring our children to where the faith of mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, or lack of that, but those who are able to influence, are we able to help them make their faith theirs? I mean, I remember when my kids all were about 20 and they looked back and told me, Dad, here's a time that when your faith became mine. I mean, really mine. And ultimately, we really try to help our children choose, and having ways in which we helped our children articulate that faith to where they weren't just mirroring mom and dad's, where they really began to unpack how God had gifted them, right? Not copy your mom and dad. It's how do you make that faith theirs? So I had to learn to become a student of my kids, not just trying to instruct my kids.